Hello, my name is Symone Barkley, and I'm the Chief Learning Officer for Black and Marine Science. And I'm going to be giving a talk today on Your Science Matters, how to share your work via Bims. So just a little bit about me. So again, I'm Symone, and my background is in marine and environmental science. I have a bachelor's from Hampton University, which is based in Hampton, Virginia. And then I went on to get a master's of science in natural resources at Delaware State University, which is located in Dover, Delaware. During my master's work, I studied sand tiger and sandbar sharks in Delaware and did a host of things through my thesis work, but the main points were really writing a conservation plan for sand tiger sharks in the Delaware Bay, looking at conservation engineering techniques. So we looked at a modified ganging for recreational anglers to catch sharks, and then additionally provided a survey to recreational anglers to understand their perceptions of shark fishing. After I finished my graduate work, I went on to NOAA, which is a federal agency. It's called the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. And I went to the Office of Education through a program called the John A. Canals Sea Grant Fellowship. So it's a marine policy fellowship, and it gives you a year in Washington, D.C. to do marine policy work. When I finished that, I went on to manage education programs and uh, now am doing kind of a bridge of all of those things. So now I currently do like policy work, but also marine science, education, environmental education. Those are my main focuses. And so, after continuing my fellowship and getting into this education space, I was awarded a 30 under 30 environmental education award. And then, hence, I've landed as the Chief Learning Officer for Black and Marine Science. So, I'm just going to talk a little bit right now about how Black people are underrepresented in ocean science. And, this is not only here in the US, but this is nationwide. This is across the globe. And so, I'm going to talk a little bit about, some of the things that we've seen and, some of the underlying causes and why Black and marine science and what Black and marine science is trying to do to change this. So, the lack of Black people is not because, we aren't interested in marine science. This is a picture of me with my classmates at Hampton University, which is a historically Black university in Virginia. And all of us were interested in marine science. We all were in the marine science department. And so, it's not that there aren't Black people who are interested in marine science. Usually, we are, and we've seen this, right, that minorities are supportive and often more supportive of environmental topics, right, including national climate and energy policies than white Americans. But Black scientists are not often invited to research conferences. They may not be represented in departments and colleges, or they may not have representation in professional societies that focus on marine research. And I had definitely seen this while I was in school and while I was, placed even in the federal government, was that I really wasn't seeing a lot of people who look like me. And to this day, I still don't see that many Black people next to me, right, in my meetings or at conferences. And when I go to these large conferences, right, there's thousands of people there, and it's normally just a handful of Black people. And that's normally how we build connections because, we see one another at one conference and then we see them again at the conference next year. And we're like, okay, so we know that you are in this work, and we want to make sure that we are building a connection. And so, as a group, Black people have been excluded from higher education, which of course causes negative consequences on the research, right? We know that it's really important that we have a diverse representation of ideas and that we have different perspectives that are going to be given input on the solutions that we might have to any environmental issues. And so we've seen, of course, um, that Black people have voices just have not been listened to, and they often don't have the space. We often don't have the space to provide input, especially on the things that are affecting our communities. Again, this is another photo from my time in marine science. And this was a program that was specialized for for students. So it was really about youth, and I was a mentor during this program. And they tried to do a pretty good job of getting, you know, young people from various backgrounds. But even still, right, even in this picture, you still don't see that many black people. And so even knowing that, you know, when we make a concerted effort, we still are seeing that, you know, a lot of times we just aren't getting as many black people who are being able to come to the table, right? And that's for a host of different barriers that we'll talk about as we continue. Ocean science is one of the least diverse sciences in the US, with 83% of doctoral degrees being awarded to those who identify as Caucasian or white, and 8% are awarded to underrepresented groups. So that includes Hispanic, Latinx, Black, and Native American X. Those that identify as Black or African American are the third largest racial group, but make up approximately 1% of doctoral degrees in ocean science. We're the third largest racial group, but we only make up 1% of the doctoral degrees. And that's a really stark difference, right? That's a photo of me with my classmates when we graduated from Hampton. This is when we got a bachelor's degree. And so again, wanting to call out, right? You see, there are black people who are in this work, but there are not enough of us due to a lot of the systemic barriers in place, right? A lot of times we aren't given the support that we need while we're in school. And a lot of times there's funding barriers. Folks don't always have the opportunity to go out and to go out and to do research, right? A lot of times internships may not have been paid, and so you can't always do volunteer work or unpaid work, but you need to get experience. And many times those large competitive scholarships, right, and fellowships and the like, they want you to already have experience. And so we are always sort of like starting out on at the lower end of the totem pole, if that makes sense. So, due to all of these things, that is why we created an organization called Black and Marine Science. Black and Marine Science mission is to celebrate Black marine scientists, spread environmental awareness, and inspire the next generation of scientific leaders. Bims is a small but mighty organization that prioritizes Black voices and experiences. We aim to make all of our events and opportunities accessible. And not, when I say accessible, I don't only mean, as far as like monetarily. I also mean that we try to get sign language interpretation for our meetings and for our workshops. So this accessibility, I think, is really important to make sure that we are reaching as many people as we can reach, because we know, again, that the ocean is important to everyone and is essential to everyone, and we all are impacted by it, right? And we all also can have impact on the ocean. So BIMS really puts that at the forefront of everything that we do. Members are paid to create different videos, and I'll talk a little bit about some of those engagement opportunities that we have, because we know how pay inequities have plagued the Black communities. We also discuss environmental justice issues and other issues that have particularly impacted Black and brown and low income communities, like air pollution, improper disposal of waste, water contamination, access to green space, and more. We also share scholarship, job, internship, professional development, and volunteer opportunities to our members. We lead cleanup efforts, scuba certification programs, field experiences, and more. So, BIMS was born in 2020, and it was, when we had seen a lot of racial tension in this country, which hadn't stopped before then, and it certainly hasn't stopped now. But we had seen a lot of racial tension after the killing of George Floyd, and then in particular, Christian Cooper, who was a Black man who was birding in New York in Central Park, and a white woman called the police on him because he asked her to have her dog on the leash, which is a rule there to have her dog on the leash because they could, of course, cause harm to the birds. He was just trying to be in his space, right, and to also be respectful of the wildlife. And so this led us to really start to launch these moments online that focused on uplifting and highlighting the inequities and the experiences that Black people face when they work in the outdoors, when they work in nature, especially when they work in geosciences. And so we saw Black AF in STEM, right? And they did a Black Birders Week. We saw lots of other organizations like a Black in Chem, Black in Geosciences. We saw Elasmo Week. We saw all of these weeks just popping up, and these weeks were all had the same goal, right? And it was, again, to highlight the experiences and the work that Black people go through in our fields, and to make sure that we are not continuing to face these really harsh experiences and realities where they have pushed people out of the field. It has made it very uncomfortable for us to not be able to do the things that we really love to do. We really have a passion for the work that we do, and many people don't stay in the work, and they don't stay because they aren't safe, and I mean that literally. People who don't feel safe, they don't feel comfortable, they don't feel like they can be themselves, they aren't given the opportunities that they deserve, that they've earned. And so Bims was one of the organizations that also had a week. We had Black and Marine Science Week at the end of 2020, and it was so monumental and so amazing that we continued to do the work, and we established a nonprofit, Black and Marine Science. So just in the year 2021, BIMS raised over $200,000 that led to 10 initiatives to encourage BIPOCs in marine science. We produced 120 episodes of marine science content with 85 different speakers to spread environmental awareness. And so I think that this is also very critical to call out that, again, a lot of times we hear that there just aren't enough Black people who are interested in marine science. There are no Black marine scientists. Well, we had over 85 different people, right, talking about marine science, Black people talking about marine science. So there absolutely are numbers of us who are here, who are present, who are in this work, and who want to continue to do this work. We have a YouTube channel that has received over 12,000 views over our content, and this again was just in the year 2021. And we have formed several partnerships and collaborations. And that photo where you see the individuals underwater diving, we actually took students to get scuba certified a couple of months ago. And another photo that you see there, we went to do a career panel for students at a university. And so we also try to not only support marine scientists who are already established in their careers, but we try to support those who are in middle school, high school, elementary school, and those who are in college, and we really want to make sure that we are giving opportunities for Black people to be involved in marine science as much as they want to. So, here's an opportunity for you to be involved in Black marine science by becoming a member. So, we do have a membership, and we also have an international general body meeting. And we have this because we have members who are in the US, but who are also based in other countries and across this world. And so I think that's also really valuable that we have members who aren't just in the US, even though we started out, right? The founding members of BIMS, we started out, all of us are based in the United States, but it's been really powerful to see how our membership has spread, how the word has spread about BIMS and who we are and what we do. And so, the membership opportunities that we have, I think really open up a world of new ideas in the marine science field. So the membership plans, there are different tiers. The full membership is $120, but there is a free offering for the membership. And the membership fee can also be paid by your department or your organization, similar to any other scientific to any other scientific society. If you need a letter of support that, says, why you might want to join Bims, we actually have that. And so the underlined portion of this slide, which you will receive these slides. The underlined portion, that link is actually a link to the letter that you could give to a department chair or to your organization and ask them to pay for your membership fee. You may also contact. We have a staff member on our team, Q. You may also contact Q, who is our BIMS expert, with any questions that you may have. Q handles all of our BIMS memberships. And so the quarterly International General Body meeting, it happens on the second Tuesday of the month, but it's quarterly. This was the last one, which was held on July 20th. The next one will be on October 19th. So it would be awesome if you all could become members, and once you become members, join the International General Body meeting, because we would love to see you there. We would love to have your input, and during those meetings we like give you updates on what the founding team has been doing, but we also like to listen to what you need and what you want. If there are workshops, if there are professional development opportunities, if there are new ideas that you have, if there are ideas that you even have about BIMS Week. We do BIMS Week every year. So if you have ideas about BIMS Week, we would love to hear that. And this would actually be a great time for you to join, because we are about to start planning for BIMS Week. And BIMS Week by far gets the most attention. That across the rest of the year for Black and Marine Science. During BIMS Week, we have a lot of attention for some really amazing ocean groups and conservation organizations. And so I would highly suggest that you become a member as soon as possible, so you can continue to engage with us as those opportunities come up. And so I just wanted to pop in some links to previous BIMS Week workshops, keynotes, and panels. These, I think, would be some really good videos for you to check out. These are not all of them. There are tons of YouTube videos that we have, but these are just a few that I wanted to call out. So we have a video where BIMS members talk about how to network. How do you network? How do you build relationships, professional relationships, when you're at conferences or when you go to meetings or workshops, or even just at your university. We also have a workshop on creating a message box. So this is really about science communication. I'm going to talk a lot about science communication as we continue, but this is a workshop about science communication and how you get the message across when you are trying to talk about your science and your work and why it matters and what you want people to take away from it. We have a grad school panel, information about why you should go to grad school, if it's a good choice for you, if it's not, and how to apply to grad school, what things to look out for while you're in graduate school, other ways that you can, again, build connections, the best way to move forward in grad school without being stagnant, to make sure that you're continuing to move forward. We talk about safety in marine science because, again, I called out that, again, sometimes Black people don't feel safe in this work. So how do we make a safe environment? How do we hold our advisors, our allies accountable for making sure that we're safe? And also, how do we make each other feel safe? We had workshops on your scientific identity and the role of positive mentorship. It's really important to have a good mentor. It's really important to have a mentor who listens to you, who advocates for you. And so that lesson and that session was really important in setting the tone for that. And then, of course, building equity in marine science. That was, of course, at the center of a lot of the work that we do. It's all about equitable access. And so we know that science communication is important. We know that as a scientist, and to be a reputable scientist, to be a scientist who is respected and well known, you have to share your work. You have to have your work be peer reviewed. You have to, make sure that other people know about the work that you're doing. And of course, the goal of science, right, is to inform society and inform decisions, right? That's why we do science. And so effective communication is critical to being a scientist. Goals of science communication are to share findings and excitement of science, increase appreciation for science as a useful way of understanding and navigating the modern world. So science should be used to understand, why the world is the way it is and help us to navigate the world, help us to understand, you know, um, why decisions have been made. Science communication looks very different. And it could be through infographics, right? It could be through documentaries, those programs that you might see on like television, right, where they are talking about, you know, uh, the ocean, or how orcas feed. All of those things, those are science communication, right? That's just a different way of doing it. Podcasts, lots of people listen to podcasts now, listen to them during work, or they listen to them, just for fun or while they drive. And so podcasts, I think, are also pretty interesting because people can talk about their science in really unique ways and tell a story without you even having to see it visually. And I think that that's really valuable. Social media, we know that that's a really great way, and a really prevalent way that people are communicating. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the ways that Bims supports science communication through videos. So we have our Bims Bites, our Bims Bites Kids, Bims Dives, Bims social media, and then we also have a partnership with this organization ASLO, and they have a webinar series. I'll go through each of these so that you can get an idea for what we have to offer. Bims Bites and Bims Bites Kids has already changed the tide on science communication. Bims Bites are small bites of marine science topics presented by Black scientists to communicate science worldwide. So we're looking for more people to record episodes, and we want you to be one of those people. All you need to do is to click the link that you see on this slide for you to sign up for an episode, and you will earn $75. Once you sign up, you can send a follow-up email to Leslie at the email address you see listed to receive filming instructions. Now, these Bims Bites episodes have had tons of different topics. We've done ocean acidification, impacts of metal contamination on fish behavior, aquatic toxicology, marine viral ecology. For the Bims Bites Kids, we've had scientists talk about sensational cephalopods, sawfish, marine debris, phytoplankton, microplastics, sea turtles, sea snails, and the list goes on. And so there is no limit on what you can talk about. This is a great way for you to practice consolidating your information and your research into about 5 minutes, because we really want it to be digestible. We want people to be able to quickly watch a video and take away just a couple of things about whatever the topic is. And so you're welcome to choose any topic that you want. We also have no problem with there being topics being repeated. That is fine with us, because again, it's really important that we have input from everyone. That's how we think that effective science works. We have to hear from everyone so that we can know how we're going to use the research to find solutions, or to just, have a greater knowledge set. Another way for you to practice science communication with BIMS is through our BIMS dives. And so BIMS dives are an opportunity for you to learn a little bit more and do a deeper dive with more well-known marine scientists. We have done BIMS dives with lots of people, and so I'm just going to go through a few of them. We've done Ocean Justice with Dr. Ayanna Elizabeth Johnson, Ocean Championship with Dr. Letice LaFleur, Inclusion in Ocean Science with Dr. Ambrose Gerald, Capturing the Ocean with Inka Cresswell, Aquatic Ecosystems with Dr. Mamie Parker, and Funding Ocean Research with Dr. Brandon Jones. As you can see just from the selection of titles that I shared with you, the topics really range, right? The field of marine science. And I think that that is really important to talk about too. The fact that marine science has such a variety of topics and areas of focus, right? You can talk about so many things when we say that you are a marine scientist, and that Black people are leading a lot of the areas of focus in marine science, right? So we have a lot, we have Ayanna Elizabeth Johnson in Ocean Justice. We have Inka Cresswell, who is a photographer, right? Like, that's amazing, to know that we have Black people who are doing this work across the board, across the field. And so, if you would like to be a moderator for one of our Bims Dives program, you could sign up and you would earn $150 as a moderator. To do so, you would send an email to info@bims.org if you are interested in moderating. And please remember that Bims Dives, they air on the last Friday of the month at 6 p.m. Eastern. So please keep that in mind as you fill out the form if you are interested, or when you send an email to Leslie. Also, on our social media, we have lots of opportunities for you to be engaged there as well. BIMS is really active on social media. There are just a few ways that you can share your science or just share who you are with the BIMS followers. So that could be done through BIMS Swim Shorts. So these are short 1 to 3 minute clips of you doing field work, lab work, or teaching, so that you can be featured on our social media site to increase your marine science engagement. Another way for you to practice your communication. BIMS, a day in the life as a marine scientist. So you can show us your day-to-day activities as a marine scientist. You can submit video clips of your weekly or day-to-day activities, and we can highlight that on our site. We have BIMS Friday Fireside Chat. So do you want to engage with the public and talk about topics relating to marine science, policy, conservation, or any other topic that you think is interesting? You could do so during our Tea in the Sea, which is our Friday Fireside Chat. We also have Reel It In, which is a 1 minute topic that you want to share with the community. So it's just something fun for you to do an Instagram reel about. We also have a partnership with the Association for the Sciences of Limnology and Oceanography, called ASLO, and they've started a Amplifying Voices webinar series. The purpose of this series is to promote the scientific research of early career researchers from historically excluded groups in the ASLO Society. And so there have been about 8 of these seminars that have taken place already, but they're looking for more speakers, and they especially want people who are outside of North America and Western Europe. Selected speakers will be given a certificate of participation after their webinar. So that's also another great opportunity for you to not only be involved with BIMS, but also to be involved with another professional society, the Association for the Sciences of Limnology and Oceanography. And I think this is another benefit of BIMS, that we do have a lot of partnerships with these large ocean focused, conservation focused, marine societies and organizations. And so they oftentimes send us opportunities that are exclusive to us, or they set aside a certain number of spots for BIMS members. So this is a really great way for you to get involved with those organizations as well. And next, I'm going to talk a little bit about, the fact that we don't see as many Black scientists being published, and therefore we're not being cited as often. And as we talked about, it's really important that scientists are having their work published so they can be peer reviewed, right? And so that we can be respected and to be known as reputable scientists. And so we've seen that there have been discrepancies in Black scientist publications compared to our white counterparts. And so this is just really quickly 2 quotes from an article from the New York Times that said about 2/3 of the authors and reviewers who reported their race or ethnicity to AAAS, which publishes the Science family of journals, listed themselves as white. So 2/3 of authors and reviewers of that reported their race to AAAS, they listed themselves as white. People identifying as Black, Latino, Indigenous, or Native together compose less than 10% of these groups. at the Royal Society, which is based in Britain and publishes annual diversity reports, about 75 to 80% of the authors and reviewers who responded to the institution identified as white. The remainder of the scientists were grouped together as Black and minority ethnic. So still, we're not looking at maybe we're looking at 25 to 20% that were grouped together as Black and minority ethnic. We are not being published nowhere near at the rate of our white counterparts. And again, it's not because we are not doing the science, we are. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the opportunities that BIMS has for you to practice writing. So one is that you can do a blog post. I know that blog posts might seem a bit trivial, but they are a great way for you to practice your writing. It's very important to not only be able to verbally communicate your science, but it's also equally important to be able to write it. As we know that you have to, publish if you want to be, especially an academic, right, or a researcher. And so you can do so through these blog posts. You would be given $75 to do a blog post, and you would be able to go ahead and contact Suzanne Miller with the link that's on this slide for you to get more information about the blog. There's also an opportunity for you to be featured on the Ocean Science social media. Ocean School is a free online educational experience that really intersects science, education, and storytelling, and it's based in Canada. The Ocean School social media team, they have a small initiative that's called Behind the Science, where they showcase people doing important work for the ocean. They're looking for more scientists, and so you could absolutely be a scientist that shares information about your work. You would include photos and then answer a few questions, and then they would post you on their site. This is a really great way for you to learn and eventually know how to condense your science into just a couple of sentences. You would be able to communicate really effectively as you do this work. And so there's a way for you to contact if you are interested. There's an email listed here. And then there's an opportunity for you to present your science. So we've talked about, presenting via videos that are recorded or hosting live conversations. We've talked about writing and why that's important. But now here's an opportunity for you to present at a conference. And this is a conference called POC. It is organized by Black and Marine Science, also Minorities in Shark Sciences, Black Women in Ecology, Evolution, and Marine Science, Minorities in Aquarium and Zoo Science, and Minorities in Aquaculture. And we all have come together to host a virtual conference. This conference is aimed to provide networking opportunities and professional development opportunities for participants while showcasing the work of BIPOC marine scientists around the world. So all of these opportunities that I've shared with you, they are absolutely open to you, even though, they are not based in the United States. None of these opportunities are only for United States citizens. They are for everyone. And so the conference will be held September 30th to October 2nd, and there will be a BIPOC only preview day on September 29th. I wanted to make sure that I put this in here because the abstracts are due on August 12th. So you have a little bit less than a week to submit your abstract. Please register to attend even if you don't submit an abstract, but we would love to hear about your work. There are also just a few memberships or special opportunities that we have, again, in partnering with other organizations, and I've just listed two here. One is that if you're interested in marine technology, the Marine Technology Society is providing 10 free membership subscriptions to BIMS members. So you would be able to have a membership to the Marine Technology Society for free. You just need to email Leslie if you would like to claim a membership. You would click the link here that has her email address. Another opportunity is that Wired is looking for shark experts to answer questions during a Twitter session called Shark Support. Wired will be providing an honorarium to you if you are a contributor, as well as questions in advance and a pre-production Zoom call to answer any specifics you may have. Video recordings will take place between June and September of 2022. Please send an email to Leslie if you are interested. And I would like to wrap up this presentation by just giving you the information here for you to contact us. And so this is my information. Again, I'm Symone Barkley, but I was going to say I'm scientist Symone because I was just about to give you some info about how to reach out to me via Twitter or Instagram. And so that's my website there, scientistsymone.com. You can email me at outreach@bims.org. That comes directly to me for Black and Marine Science. So if you have any questions about any of the things I've shared with you, if a link doesn't work, or if you want any more information about the things I've covered, please just let me know and I'd be happy to assist. And also you may see my Instagram and Twitter handles are Scientist Symone. And you can check out our Black and Marine Science YouTube channel. And of course, this last slide just shares all of the Black and Marine Science contact information. You can go to bims.org or blackandmarinescience.org. You can follow us on Twitter at Black and Mar Sci. You can follow us on Instagram at Black and Marine Science, and email us if you have any questions. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your time. I hope that you all had a great conference, and please reach out to me if you have any questions. Have a great one.